Okay. All right, so welcome everybody. The theme for this week is my 5 top movements for releasing tension in the shoulders. And this came about because a student from last Friday morning's class said to me, Liz, please can you do a lesson for tense shoulders? And I'm always looking for ideas for classes. You know, I've got over 150 plus classes in the library, and you know, any suggestions gratefully received, because sometimes I think I don't know what I'm going to teach. Okay, so we are going to be doing a variation of the back lift. So if you need some support for your front, you want to grab that now, a blanket for your front, and bring yourselves up onto your feet. And something I just want to say, and I do see this a lot in class, and I know a lot of you have these smart watches on that beep and vibrate and blah, blah, blah. And it's a distraction. So I would really encourage you not to wear them when you're practicing, because we want you to be focusing on the sensations of the somatics practice. So if you can bear to take your watch off just for an hour and turn your phone off, yeah, then please do that. I really highly encourage that. Okay, so just give yourself a moment to pause. Get a sense of yourself. And I thought I'd start this morning's practice with the quote for today. And it's very simply, I do not have one personality, I have several. I do not have one personality, I have several. So which of your personalities are you sensing today? What does it feel like to be you? And for many of us, we hold our stress and tension in our shoulders. For others, it might be in the belly. So just get a sense of, do your shoulders feel like they do carry your stress? And it's never just the shoulders. It always relates back to the center of the body. How are we holding tension also in the center of the body, in the back, in the belly, in the sides? And as you pause here, I want you to just let your focus drop to your breath. And we can't focus on the shoulders without focusing on the arms. And just take a moment to center yourself and feel if your arms move in response to your breath. Sensing as you breathe in, can you feel the arms gently lift up and slightly away? It's very subtle. And as you breathe out, can you sense the arms just gently draw closer in? Let's take a few more moments to tune into that. Use your breath as an anchor. And notice, does one arm move a little bit differently compared to the other. And then shift your focus back to your shoulders and get a sense of where they are in relation to your ears. Do they feel pulled up, as in a permanent shoulder shrug? Or does one shoulder feel closer to the ear compared to the other? Or do your shoulders feel forwards of your ears? Or do they feel pulled back as if you're stood to attention? Or can you get an internal sense of one shoulder forwards and one shoulder back? And we can relate our shoulders again to our arms and feel how our arms are hanging by our side. Does one arm feel longer? Are your arms hanging forwards or by your side? So just get a sense of where you're starting out from, and then bring yourselves down onto the floor. Grab a blanket if you need it. And make sure I can see as much of you as possible. So, Janet, Joyce, can you tip your device down? Great. And just feeling yourself on the floor. And what you felt in your shoulders in standing, has that changed? Because it can. How much space do you have at the back of your shoulders? Can you sense the space between your shoulders, each shoulder, and your ears? And let your awareness move down your arms, just sensing the position of each arm, the space between your arms and sides. And then just let your awareness move upwards to the back of your head. Feel where the pressure is on the back of your head. And then move your awareness down and feel your shoulder blades. How are your shoulder blades sitting on the back of your ribs? Does one feel like it's protruding, it's sticking into the floor? And even feel the contact the back of your ribs make with the floor. Where are they heaviest? Where are they lightest? Feel the space in your lower back, the weight through your pelvis. Also sense your buttocks. Is one buttock gripping more so than the other? And then bring your awareness down into each leg, feeling each leg on the floor. Feel the weight through your heels and the direction of each foot. Okay, Soma, so taking all of that in, bring your arms closer to your sides. And if it's okay to stay here with legs long, I invite you to do that. If at any point you need to bring your feet up, then feel free to do that. And I want you to feel again your shoulders in relation to your ears, as in, do they feel pulled up towards your ears? Does one feel closer, like you're stuck in a shoulder shrug? And I want you to just pick that shoulder that feels closer to the ear. Or if you feel pretty balanced, just pick a shoulder and slide that shoulder up towards your ear. Slide it up. And sensing that tension at the top of the shoulder and maybe even into the side of your neck. And then slowly let that go. Let that tension melt away. Let's do that again with that shoulder and bring your shoulder blade up your back as well. And I want you to let your head tilt, not roll. Can you tilt the head to the shoulder? There's a little difference between a tilt and a roll. When you roll your head, you'll look towards the shoulder. When you tilt your head, the ear, as if you're holding a phone underneath your ear. Imagine that. And then slow motion, release that. Bring your head back to center and your shoulder too. And feel that again one more time on this side. Sliding the shoulder up and tilt the head. Put that imaginary phone between your head, your ear, and your shoulder. And then release. The beauty of these movements you can do seated and standing as well. And then explore that on the other side. Slide the shoulder up. Feel if that shoulder moves up higher. And add the tilting of your head. That's it. Find that imaginary phone. And then slide your head away. And the shoulder. Do that twice more on your own, really connecting to the shoulder blade as well. Sense as the shoulder goes up, the ribs open up underneath that shoulder. Sense the differences between each shoulder. And then let's coordinate this both sides. So go back to the first side. As you slide that shoulder up, can you let the other shoulder slide down? Slow motion, reverse that. And don't forget to involve your head. Keep breathing gently as you do this. One goes up, one goes down. And feel as the shoulder goes down, how the ribs tighten up on that side. And then you take the shoulder up and those ribs open up. Keep going. Inviting the shoulder blades along. And feeling, sensing if your pelvis is moving along with you too. Can you feel when the shoulder goes down, that same side hip hikes up? And can you bring that in consciously? So as the shoulder goes down, can you hike that same side hip? Sensing how that leg shortens as the hip hikes. There's a key with this. It's almost like you're walking on the spot. Try to, as you bring the legs in, try not to forget that shoulder shrugging action too. And the tilting of your head, imagining that phone. I love these wriggly movements. And then when you bring yourself to stillness, can you find balance through your head, through your shoulders, through your pelvis? And then just give yourself a few breaths there, just to feel what releases. Okay, so Miss, draw your knees up. And let your arms move away from your sides. And let's lift both shoulders up to the ceiling. And just get a sense of how each shoulder moves. Sense the space underneath the back of each shoulder. And as you hold here and breathe, can you balance out that space at the back of each shoulder? And then slowly let that go. Melt that tension out. And just feel if that was a smooth or jerky ride out. Now let's let the shoulders roll back into the floor. And is the pressure the same through the back of each shoulder? As you breathe here, can you balance that pressure out? Feel that openness across the chest, but the tension in the upper back, and then melt that tension away. And then keep breathing as you slowly lift the shoulders back up to the ceiling again. Invite your head to tip back and let the chest sink down. As the shoulders go up, let the chest sink down, up towards the ceiling, up towards the ceiling. That's it, tipping the head back. And feel when you do that, it allows the shoulders to lift even more. Let your arms come a little bit closer in and roll down to the palms. And then slowly release that. As you roll the shoulders back into the floor, take a breath in as you roll the chin down and arch the back. Let the arms slide a little away, landing palm up. And again, just feeling that as the chin rolls down, feeling how that gets into the upper back and balance out that pressure through the shoulders, and then ease that pressure off. Keep breathing and feeling here. And then flow into the shoulders rolling off the floor, head tipping back. Balance out that space underneath the back of the shoulders, roll down to the palms and roll your pelvis into a flatten. When you next breathe out, can you really let those ribs sink down? Really let the chest collapse underneath your shoulders and slowly release out. And exploring that a few more times on your own. Really balance out the pressure as you press the shoulders back and balance out the space at the back of the shoulders when you lift the shoulders. And then when you next release out from a flatten, just pause and rest. And notice what it feels like to just gently alternate that pattern with the shoulders. So as one shoulder lifts, can you let the other shoulder press back into the floor? And slow motion, just alternate that. And allow your head to follow the shoulder that presses back. It's like you're doing a slow motion shimmy. One shoulder lifting as the other one presses back. And then let that go. Slide your legs long. Just give yourself a moment or two to integrate. And then Somas, bring yourself onto your front. Pop a blanket underneath you if that makes it more comfortable. And have both hands either side of your head. And just take a moment to turn your head from side to side slowly to feel which side is more comfortable to begin with. You can do that a few times just to, just check in with that. And then once you've chosen that, the hand that you can see, bring that underneath your cheek that you're resting on. And make sure the wrist is clear. You're not resting on your wrist. And the other arm, rest it along your side. And I know the majority of people, when I say we're going to do this version of a back lift, there's an internal groan. But the sequence of lifting the elbow is a really simple but powerful way of releasing tension from the shoulders. And what I'd like you to do is lift the elbow, just the elbow. And when you do that, open your eyes and notice as the elbow lifted as high as you thought it had. Can you create some space through the chest and allow that elbow to lift? Keep the heel of the hand down and feel the tension at the back of that shoulder. Now slowly release. And completely relax. Can you completely relax there? And feel that again. And sense at the top of this, the back of that shoulder is contracted. can you sense the opposite buttock has tightened? Now, I want you to tighten the opposite buttock. Tighten that on purpose. And don't hurt yourself, don't force anything, but I want you to be curious as you lower the elbow. Sense how until you relax the buttock, the elbow cannot fully relax. The shoulder cannot fully let go. So let the buttock relax to release the shoulder. And then sense that one more time. Let the elbow lift. And notice again if the buttock contracts, which is part of that pattern, that green light pattern. So as you release out, remember to let that tension go in the buttock as well. And take a few breaths to really let that go. Now we're going to add a stronger load to the shoulder, and you'll feel this more in the back as well. And it can be just a micro lift, so do what's comfortable for you. We are going to lift with a relaxed belly on an inhale, your head, chest, hand, and elbow. And notice if the elbow is still a bit droopy to the floor. Can you take an extra breath here and let that elbow float up to the ceiling? And then slow motion release. Notice if you landed that elbow with a thud. Can it come down gently, softly? Let's create a little bit of a spiral here, but please don't force this. Let the non-lifting shoulder just stay a bit closer to the floor. And try that again. Can that elbow lift? And then slow release. And remember to let the opposite buttock and leg relax. And we're going to lift the opposite leg in a moment, bringing it all together into that classic back lift. Keep the non-lifting leg, keep that hip gently pressing towards the floor. So when you're ready, breathing in, chest, head, hand, elbow, opposite leg lifting. You can keep the other shoulder forwards to create a spiral, but don't force anything. And then slowly release. Let everything go. Slide the hand out from underneath your face to really let the weight of your head release. And that might help the back to release and the shoulder too. Now, Somas, roll onto your back for a moment. Just kind of a brief stopover. And we've all been pandiculating different shoulders, but can you feel a difference between that shoulder and the other one? Is it somehow sitting differently on the floor? Does your chest feel a bit more open on that side? Okay, bring yourself onto your front, set yourself up the opposite way. And just checking that your head isn't on your wrist, so it's free to flex. and explore lifting your elbow. And again, open your eyes, sneaky peek. Is that elbow lifting as high as you thought it could? And just without pressing into the hand, use the back of that shoulder to lift the elbow, create space in the chest, and then slowly release. And be curious as the elbow comes to the floor, does anything let go in the opposite buttock? Can you let it go in the opposite buttock? To allow that shoulder to relax. So let the elbow lift. Breathe in as it lifts. Create that space through your chest. Hold at the top and let's tighten that opposite buttock on purpose. Hold it tight as you lower down with the elbow, and you might sense it can't quite let go. Let the buttock go. Feel how that shoulder and elbow relaxes. And exploring that again. Really notice if there's a difference between each shoulder. And notice if you're pushing through the hand, it might roll you over to the other side. So we want to ease off that through the hand. Make sure you let everything release. And then when you're ready, begin to explore with an inhale, with a soft breath, lifting your chest, head, hand, and elbow. And you can let the opposite shoulder just stay forwards towards the floor to create a spiral. But only if that feels comfortable. And yes, we feel the back lift in the neck. But if we're not letting the belly go and the back do the work, it will feel unpleasant for the neck. And explore that twice more. Are you still looking at the elbow? So open your eyes to see if you're still looking at the elbow, because often our gaze will go back to the floor. And often what I'll see is when we go to lift, the head will stay close to the floor. Can you clear the head away from the floor as if you're moving your head away from a really bad smell? And feel if that opposite leg is trying to lift. And then your next repetition, lift the opposite leg, keeping the non-lifting leg anchored into the floor. And then as you come down, feeling your way out, sensing that that leg is relaxed, the buttocks let go, the shoulders let go. Keeping your head turned to this side, just slide that hand away, out from underneath that cheek, and just feel the shoulder let go. And then bring yourself back onto your back. Take a few breaths with your legs stretched out. Take a few moments to feel what's different. As we release these, layers of holding and tension, we might feel that one of our different personalities has come through. Okay, Somas, draw your knees up. Just check that your feet are level. I'm going to practice one of my favorite movements, which is the rope pull. Separate your feet at comfortable width apart and reach your arms up to the ceiling. Palms facing each other. Just open your eyes for a moment and just check that your arms and fingertips are shoulder level up to the ceiling and not over your face. And then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, keeping the arms straight, but just let those shoulders soften more into the floor. Feel the weight. And just sense if one shoulder can let go compared to the other. Anytime you need to release your arms down, folks, just follow what you need. And I want you to start to reach up to the ceiling with your right hand. And feel if that right shoulder comes off the floor. Can you lift it off the floor? That's it. There we go. Slowly release. Let gravity help you here. Release. Really make sure that you feel that release. Often, if we have very bent elbows, we may just be straightening and bending the arm. So really connect it to the shoulder. And also when you reach up again, connect it to the shoulder blade. Reach up, connecting your right hand to your right shoulder blade. And as you do that, what happens if you let your head, your chin tip up from that shoulder and away from that shoulder? Does it give you a bit more reach? Slowly lower, bring your head back to center. Really feel that shoulder land. And just open your eyes for a minute, folks. I can see arms starting to drop down or back. Make sure that hand is reaching up to the ceiling. And then do that one more time. Reconnect that to the shoulder blade and also the ribs. Chin lifting up and away, and then release. And then let your arms float down for a breath or two, just so that you can feel the difference. Just those 3 repetitions I've made. And then bring your arms up again. And explore that 3 times on the left side. So you're not just bending and straightening the arm, you're really connecting that to the shoulder blade. And also sensing as the hand reaches up that you allow the ribs on that side to sink down. Make sure that you pause to really feel the weight of that shoulder, to let the tension go from the chest, from the ribs, from the belly. That's it. And then when you finish, let your arms float down. Let them come down, palm up. So you just give yourself that little bit of space, a space that you've just created. Let's maintain that space. Breathe into that space. And now bring your arms back up. And reaching up with that right hand. Sit. Now we're going to just hold that right arm there and slowly start to lift the left hand to the ceiling as well. And just like a pulley system, can you feel the moment when that left arm reaches and that right shoulder starts to pull back? Can you allow that right shoulder to pull back? So you create a rolling action across the back and then keep that left arm reaching and then begin to reach up with the right hand. And there is a moment, can you feel that left shoulder draws back down? So we're not just lifting and lowering, we're really being attentive. Keep going and be curious as to when you feel that moment of the other shoulder starting to come back down. So you're really paying attention. Let your head move, let your ribs move. Notice if you're just bending and straightening the elbows. Can you feel that connection to the shoulders lifting off the floor? Connect it to the ribs. Is your head moving? Can you let your head lift up and away from the reaching up arm? Really connect it to your head. It'll free up the movement of your shoulders. So you may need to slow down a bit. And then just check if your arms are moving further and further away from your head. To open your eyes and see where your arms are. And then, folks, just let your arms rest. And again, open, palm up, away from your sides. And that position of your arms will always bring the shoulders closer to the floor. It will encourage that. Okay, so let's bring the arms back into that very same shape. And we are going to alternate them. So as you reach up with the right hand, let that left shoulder draw back to the floor. That's it. And then reach up with the left hand and bring the right shoulder to the floor. Again, connecting this to your shoulder blade, ribs, head. And begin to feel how if your pelvis is moving. Can you sense, and let's freeze frame this. Next time you have a reaching up arm, can you feel that the opposite hip is lifting too? And then switch that to the other reaching arm. Now, can you hold that and lift the opposite hip? So push into that foot a little bit and you're going to lift that hip and you roll to the opposite side. That pelvis rolls to the opposite side. And then release. Reach the other arm up, the other shoulder pulls back down and lift the other hip. To create a spiral there. There you go. And keep going. You can go as slow or as quick as you feel you can maintain this in a coordinated way. Again, open your eyes for a moment. Where are your arms going? And it's easy to lose that connection to the shoulders with this reaching up and down. Really feel that the shoulders are lifting away from the floor. And then just bring yourself to stillness. Float your arms down away from your sides. And let your legs slide long. Okay, so let's bring the feet back up. Check that they're level. And reach your arms up to that very same shape again. And this time you're going to fold the elbows, right hand holding onto the left elbow, left hand holding onto the right elbow. So imagine you're going to be Cossack dancing. And begin to feel the elbows go left to right, nice and slowly. Keep your head still here, folks. And as your head goes, sorry, as your elbows go left to right, side to side, head staying still, head staying still. So we're just differentiating here. Just whichever direction you've gone in, just pause and sense as the elbows have gone to one side. Just pause and sense the space between that elbow and the floor. And then go the other way. And pause and sense the space between the elbow and the floor. Keep going. Sense the space of the lifting shoulder and floor. Feel that on each side. Anytime, folks, you need to let your arms rest, then do that. And then begin to let your head follow the elbows. Does that allow the elbows to get closer to the floor? And then bring yourselves back to stillness. Let your arms release slowly wide by sliding your hands over your forearms. The palms will meet for a moment and then let the arms spread open and wide. Again, just take a breath or two here. And then bring your hands into that very same shape, your arms and hands, that very same shape. But notice that you'll have one arm, on top. Switch that around, which just feels so weird. And then start to let your head go the opposite way to your elbows. It's almost as if you could look underneath that lifting shoulder. And then, Somas, let's begin to create a twist. So your pelvis is going to go the opposite way, pelvis and knees opposite way to your head. And notice if your head is going the same direction as your elbows or the opposite way. It's going the opposite way, let your head go the same way. And if it was going the same way, let it go the opposite way. Don't forget, as you twist, connect the action of the pelvis through the knees and into the feet. And just to challenge you a little bit more, can you switch which hand is on top? Our brain thrives on variety. Okay, so let's just explore this a few more times. This is a twist that comes from a yoga training that I did some years ago, and I've just recently come back to it and I love it. Okay. And then let your arms slide slowly open. Give yourself that sense of space. Let your legs, that's it, slide long. Sense how you feel at the end of that. Feel yourself slowing down. Coming back into a place of stillness. Listen to the birth of this ray of honey within you. Let yourself be caught in the net of its charms. Let it reveal to you what no ear has heard, what no eye has seen, what no imagination has conceived. Listen to the birth of this ray of honey within you. Let yourself be caught in the net of its charms. Let it reveal to you what no ear has heard, what no eye has seen, what no imagination has conceived. All right, Somas, just let your arms come a little bit closer into your side where you feel that they're comfortable, but notice if you've gone straight back to your default, can you find a different possibility, a different way of resting your arms? And connecting your arms up into your shoulder blades. and your shoulders. What's the space now at the back of your shoulders? Feel the pressure through the back of your head. Where is that pressure? Where is that weight? And sensing down through your upper back and your shoulder blades. How are your shoulder blades sitting on the back of your ribs now? Sense the back of your ribs. Your lower back. Your buttocks. Your pelvis. And each leg. Give yourself a moment there. And then let's begin to move ourselves with a yawn, expressing that right through to the hands, toes. Taking your time to come around onto one side. And then onto your feet. Take your time though. Remember how you felt at the beginning of this lesson. Energetically, emotionally, but also physically. Remember how your shoulders were sitting in relation to your ears. And then just let your awareness drop into your breathing. If you feel that you can, close your eyes. Sense your arms against your sides and notice if your arms respond a little bit more with your breath. All right, Somas, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you feel less tense in your shoulders and that you enjoyed that practice. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you all very soon. Namaste. Thank you for coming. Enjoy the rest of this day.